Hello there, Itroo here. Today we're going to be doing a bit of an experimentation. Previously, the Iron Tower would only affect the existing regular Old World and Cape population. It would not affect the scholars at all, even though there was a recipe that was affected by the embezzled goods. However, that has changed. So we have a look at the recipe book now. If we have a look at the very last recipe, which is locked behind the Embesser DLC, if we actually have a look here, affects all Old World residents. So we're going to be getting a reduction of the seafood stew, hibiscus canned food, and the 10% increase on housing size. Now this is more important than it is with the investors, as the 10% is based on its base value of the actual house. As the investor is only at a base value population of 50, that 10% is just 5. A scholars building is 120, so that means we should get a 10% increase of 12 population per building. So is it actually worth doing? Is it worth sacrificing some of your placement? Because to get the full range on the Iron Tower, we are going to need to push the tourist numbers up. So what we're going to be doing is similar to this over here. We're going to be doing a bit of a small cluster of hotels, with them being boosted up on population, and we're going to be boosting out the number of people we can have in the actual hotels themselves. And we're going to see if we can push the range on the Iron Tower as far as we can and get as much boosted as we can. And the island we're going to be looking at doing this on is this one here. Yes, it's fairly densile with the population, so we could put an Iron Tower probably in here and it would cover off this whole section over here. And what I'm going to probably do is redesign this section here and try to make it into a hotel and tourism section over here. So we need to know what the base is, and then we'll actually have a look at what we've done. I won't change anything over here too much. Now that town halls over here, we have the dean, lineman, and amazing fashion designer to boost housing size as much as we can up to 180. And we have a fairly decent coverage on the actual town halls here. And we have all the actual people over there in each of those ones. We might move this one around, however, we'll try and keep it kind of the same, and I will adjust the placement of these ones as much as possible. So, what is the base value? At the moment, with just their base town hall items, we have 2,115,340 scholars on the island. So we will lose some here, and we will lose some over here wherever we decide to actually place the Iron Tower. So let's time lapse this and actually have a look, skipping this forward, what sort of population we can actually get to, and is it worth it. So here we have the island after we have been able to completely put down the Iron Tower, and we have full capacity on the actual range, and there is the range that we got covered off with the Iron Tower. So we didn't actually add in any real extra scholars buildings anywhere. All we've done is we've deleted buildings here. We had to delete some buildings over here because we moved the oil, which was over here. We've moved over to this section here. I do a couple of tweaks over there. We had some buildings for scholars over here. And we now have our hotel cluster here, boosting out the needed amount of tourists. Over there, we didn't do too much else. The only thing I have really done is delete 1 or 2 buildings over here, just so I can get the attractiveness of the museum up to 300, just for any extra boost on happiness over here. So as you can see, our population is at 635 on the actual tourists' hotels. So how has that affected our population? So first thing is with the Iron Tower, as I say, it's a 10% increase, but it does also decrease consumption by quite a big amount On seafood stew, 20%. Hibiscus tea, 20%. And canned food by 10%. Really big percentages on some of the high demanding items, especially the seafood stew. That is going to be a pain if you're actually importing it and bringing it over. So, numbers. That's what we're here for. So previously, we had a global population on the island of scholars 215,340, and we had research points of 2,316,000. So, how has that changed now? With the actual Iron Tower, if we took the recipe off, we actually dropped the scholars down to 210,600 something. And with the actual increase on the global population from the Iron Tower, we've converted that back up to, if we have a look at the numbers, we've gone up to 222,228 scholars. That's 6,888 extra scholars just from actually deleting buildings and utilizing the Iron Tower. Now we have also increased the global population because we've also got 5,882 tourists on the island as well. So we've increased the actual population on the island from what was 2015 340, and we've increased it by 12,770 because we have the extra 6,888 scholars and 5,882 tourists, and we have also increased our pop on research points because the pops that we've increased up to 2,393,000, which is an extra 77,000 research points, all by just utilizing the Iron Tower in a fairly optimized place. Now, as you can see, we have lots of rail over here. We have all this space over here that could be utilized if we didn't have this crag over here. So we are fairly efficient. We have all this water over here that isn't being utilized. So as you can see, the Iron Tower, as long as you have decent coverage, is very, very worth actually putting down for the actual percentage on reduction and for the actual global population increase and for the research points. Hope you found this useful. If you did, I do appreciate any likes on the video and any subscription to the channel, and comment down below if there's any other videos you'd like me to cover off next. Take care, and I'll catch you on the next one.